Welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Uh, Today, we're going to be looking into the future,
Okay.
Bitcoin's future, to be precise.
All right.
We've got some fascinating analysis from
Yeah.
a financial markets expert
Okay.
who has laid out 5
5.
potential scenarios
Wow.
for how things might shake out.
That's a lot of scenarios.
It is a lot of scenarios.
And these aren't just your typical market predictions, are they?
Oh.
No, we're talking about forces that could reshape the global financial landscape.
Really big.
Really big. And
Yeah.
maybe even challenge how we think about
Wow.
value itself.
Okay, so to kick things off,
Yeah.
let's talk about
Okay.
Bitcoin
Yeah.
as digital gold.
Okay. So
This scenario
Yeah.
basically says Bitcoin could become a go-to safe haven in times of economic turmoil, just like gold has been for, well,
right.
pretty much forever.
Centuries.
Centuries, yeah.
What's really interesting here is the psychology behind it. You
Okay.
see, for centuries, when governments have been shaky
Right.
or currencies have lost their value,
Mm-hmm.
people have turned to gold.
Yeah.
It's tangible,
Mm,
it's scarce,
right.
and it represents stability in a world that often feels anything but stable.
So true.
And now Bitcoin,
Yeah.
with its limited supply and its independence from any government or
Yep.
central bank, is being seen as a kind of digital gold.
It's like that same deep-seated need for security
Yes,
is finding a new outlet in the digital world.
exactly. But this raises a really important question.
Okay.
Can a purely digital asset
Mm-hmm.
truly capture that same level of trust that people have put in gold for centuries?
Right.
It's one thing to believe in code, but it's
Right.
another to hold something tangible, something that's been a store of value
Yeah.
for generations.
That's a really good point.
It is, isn't it?
But I wonder if it's less about replicating that exact same trust
Right.
and more about tapping into a different kind of trust.
Mhm.
A trust in technology, in cryptography, in the power of a decentralized system.
Okay.
It's almost like a new kind of faith,
Yeah.
especially for younger generations who've grown up with digital assets.
Right.
This might feel even more natural.
It's definitely a generational shift we're witnessing.
Absolutely.
And the outcome of that shift could have huge implications
Wow.
for how Bitcoin evolves.
I see.
But while some see Bitcoin as this digital gold,
Yeah.
a safe haven, others see it playing a much more active role in our daily lives.
Interesting.
Think digital cash.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The dream of using Bitcoin to buy your morning coffee
Right.
or send money across the world with just a few taps on your phone.
The source points to a few key things, making this more and more possible.
Good.
First, you have technologies like the Lightning Network.
And for folks who don't know, what is the Lightning Network?
Well, it's essentially an add-on to the Bitcoin network that makes transactions faster and cheaper.
Faster and cheaper.
Okay. Imagine being able to send Bitcoin payments as easily as you send a text message.
Wow.
That's the idea.
Okay, so it's not just theory either.
No, it's not.
Look at El Salvador.
Yes.
They actually made Bitcoin legal tender
A few years back.
a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
And our source suggests this could be just the beginning.
It could be.
Other countries,
Yeah.
especially those where traditional banking systems are less developed,
Right.
might start to follow suit.
It's a bold move, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
There are still some real hurdles
Yeah.
on the road to Bitcoin
Okay.
becoming everyone's go-to currency.
Okay, so what are some of those hurdles?
Well, one of the biggest is that wild price volatility we talked about earlier.
Volatility, yeah.
It's hard to imagine running a business or paying your bills
Right.
when the value of your money could swing dramatically from day to day.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. That unpredictability makes it difficult for Bitcoin to truly function as a stable currency.
And then there's also the whole issue of energy consumption.
Yes.
Bitcoin mining
Uses a lot of power.
uses a lot of power, and that's a valid environmental concern.
It is.
That can't be ignored.
Not at all.
Plus, governments and regulators might not be too keen on a currency they can't control.
Which brings us to an intriguing paradox.
Oh.
Could Bitcoin's decentralized nature,
Mm-hmm.
the very thing that makes it so appealing to some,
Yeah,
also be its Achilles heel when it
Mhm.
comes to widespread adoption?
it's a valid point. On one hand, being decentralized means Bitcoin is resistant to censorship,
Absolutely.
manipulation.
Yes.
But on the other hand, it also means it exists outside the traditional structures of power and control.
So we've got Bitcoin as digital gold
Yeah,
and Bitcoin as everyday cash.
two big ones.
Two big ones.
But what happens if governments decide to step in and assert their authority?
Ooh. That's where things take a bit of a darker turn.
Okay.
With our third scenario, world of stricter regulations and a diminished role for Bitcoin.
It's interesting because you might think,
Yes.
how can they regulate something that's designed to be decentralized?
Good question.
But our source suggests that governments are increasingly worried about a few things.
Such as?
For one major concern is the use of Bitcoin for illegal activities,
Oh.
money laundering,
Mm-hmm.
funding criminal enterprises,
Yes.
things like that.
Of course. And with the rise of central bank digital currencies
Oh, yeah, CBDCs.
or CBDCs,
Yeah.
governments might see Bitcoin as a potential competitor.
It's like they're saying, if people want digital currencies,
Right.
we'll provide them, but on our terms.
Precisely. But here's the catch.
Okay.
Bitcoin's decentralized structure makes it incredibly difficult to regulate effectively.
So instead of killing Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
could stricter regulations actually drive it further underground?
It's a real possibility.
Wow.
And it speaks to this constant tension between innovation and control,
Yeah.
a tension that seems to run through many of these scenarios.
I see that.
Now, our fourth scenario presents a bit of a twist.
Okay.
It suggests that Bitcoin might become a recognized asset class, right alongside stocks and gold.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like the if you can't beat 'em, join 'em approach.
Right.
Imagine banks offering Bitcoin custody services,
Okay.
investment funds adding it to their portfolios,
Yeah.
maybe even everyday investors,
Wow.
including it in their retirement plans.
It's certainly a possibility. As Bitcoin matures
Yes.
and institutional investors get more comfortable with it,
Right.
we could see much greater integration
Definitely.
with traditional financial systems.
But this raises a fundamental question.
Right. Can Bitcoin retain its decentralized anti-establishment roots if it becomes embraced by the very institutions it was designed to disrupt?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
Integration could bring stability, legitimacy,
Mm.
and accessibility to Bitcoin,
Okay.
but it could also lead to greater control by governments and financial institutions, potentially compromising the very principles that made Bitcoin so revolutionary.
It's a real dilemma.
It is.
So we've got Bitcoin as digital gold. Bitcoin is global currency.
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin facing a regulatory crackdown.
Yes.
And Bitcoin becoming a mainstream investment.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
But there's one more scenario we need to explore.
Oh my gosh.
And this one's a bit of a nail-biter.
All right, I'm ready.
What if,
Bitcoin.
well, what if it simply fails?
It's not a pleasant thought, but it's important to consider all possibilities.
Absolutely.
Our source outlines a few potential triggers
Okay.
for Bitcoin's downfall, and we'll dive into those when we come back.
Okay, we'll be right back after a quick break. Welcome back to our deep dive into Bitcoin's future.
Yeah.
So far, we've explored 4 potential scenarios for
Right.
how Bitcoin might play out.
Uh-huh.
Now we need to talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
The possibility that Bitcoin could,
Right.
actually fail.
It's not exactly a cheerful topic,
Yeah.
but it's a reality we need to consider.
And our source points to a few key things
Yeah.
that could trigger Bitcoin's decline.
Mm-hmm.
One is the emergence of a newer, better technology.
Remember, Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency,
Right.
but it's not the only game in town anymore.
Right.
Thousands of other cryptocurrencies are out there,
Wow.
each with its own strengths and weaknesses.
Well, it's like the Wild West of finance.
Totally.
There's this gold rush mentality.
Yeah,
And Bitcoin was the first one to strike gold.
right.
But what happens if a new prospector comes along with a faster horse and a bigger shovel?
That's a great analogy.
Think.
The world of technology moves fast.
Yeah, it does.
What's cutting edge today could be obsolete tomorrow.
That's true.
Imagine a cryptocurrency that offers faster transactions,
You're right.
lower fees, and is more environmentally friendly than Bitcoin.
Okay.
That would definitely pose a serious challenge.
So competition is one threat.
Yes.
But what about security? Bitcoin's blockchain is considered incredibly secure.
It is.
But is it truly invulnerable?
Well, nothing is truly invulnerable.
Right.
A major security breach,
Yeah.
especially one that results in significant losses
Okay.
or shakes people's trust,
Mm-hmm.
could really damage Bitcoin's reputation.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have to be the end,
Right.
but it would be a major setback.
It's like those old Westerns.
Yeah.
Even if a bank is known to be secure, one high-profile heist can make people think twice
Absolutely.
about keeping their money there.
And let's not forget about that wild price volatility
Oh, right.
we discussed earlier.
Yeah, the volatility.
While some people view it as a sign of Bitcoin's potential,
Yeah.
others see it as a major weakness.
Especially if those swings become extreme
Right.
and unpredictable.
Yeah,
It's hard to imagine Bitcoin being widely adopted
I agree.
if its value is constantly fluctuating.
Right. Stability and predictability
Mm.
are really important for a currency to function effectively.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And if Bitcoin can't offer those things,
Right.
it might just become too risky for everyday use.
So we've got competition from other cryptocurrencies,
Yes.
security risks, and that ever-present volatility.
All of those things
Yeah.
could contribute to Bitcoin's decline.
But even if Bitcoin were to fail,
Okay.
the technology behind it,
Yes.
the
The
blockchain,
blockchain.
might continue to evolve and thrive.
Absolutely.
Think about the internal combustion engine.
Okay.
Even if the first cars were clunky and inefficient,
Yeah.
the basic technology revolutionized transportation forever.
Good point.
So Bitcoin could end up being like the Model T of cryptocurrency, a
Interesting.
pioneering invention
Yeah.
that paved the way for something even better.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this whole space so fascinating.
It is.
We're witnessing the birth of a new technology,
Right.
and it has the potential to really reshape our world in some big ways.
Okay, so we've explored 5 potential futures for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Digital gold,
Yes.
global currency, regulatory crackdown, mainstream integration,
Right.
and even collapse.
That's a lot to wrap our heads around.
It is a lot.
And the fact that Bitcoin could go in so many different directions is precisely what makes it so exciting.
I agree.
It's a technology that's pushing boundaries, challenging assumptions,
Right.
and forcing us to rethink how we view money and value.
And that brings us to the big question.
Okay.
What does all of this mean for you, dear listener?
Well, we're not here to give you financial advice
Right.
or tell you what to think.
Of course.
Our goal is to provide you with some insights
Mhm.
and maybe spark your curiosity so you can engage in these conversations
Absolutely.
and make your own informed decisions.
Remember, the future isn't predetermined.
It's not.
It's shaped by the choices we make.
That's right.
So as you ponder these potential futures of Bitcoin,
Yeah.
think about what role you want to see this technology play
Mm.
in your life and in the world around you.
And with that in mind,
Okay.
let's wrap up this deep dive into the future of Bitcoin.
Welcome back to the deep dive. I hope you've had some time to digest all that,
Yeah, a lot to think about.
because we've covered a lot of ground in this exploration of Bitcoin's potential futures.
We have.
From digital gold to global currency, from regulatory crackdowns to mainstream acceptance,
That's it.
and even the possibility of complete failure.
It's a wide range of possibilities.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. And as we wrap things up,
Yeah.
it's clear that Bitcoin is at a crossroads.
It does feel that way.
The decisions that individuals, governments, and institutions make in the coming years
Mhm.
will determine which path it takes.
And that's what makes this whole conversation so fascinating.
It really is.
We're not just talking about a new technology.
Right.
We're talking about a potential shift in how we think about money value and the very structure of our financial systems.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Think about it. For centuries,
Yeah.
we've relied on centralized institutions like banks and governments
Right.
to control and manage our money.
It's always been that way.
Bitcoin challenges that fundamental premise by offering a decentralized alternative.
It's almost like a return to a more
Yeah.
grassroots peer-to-peer system of exchange.
Yeah, I like that.
But instead of trading shells or beads,
Right.
we're trading digital tokens
Mhm.
that are secured by cryptography
Yes.
and powered by a global network of computers.
It's wild when you think about it.
It is pretty wild.
And that's both exciting and a little bit scary.
It is both.
It's exciting because it opens up all sorts of possibilities
Yeah.
for financial inclusion, innovation, and even social change.
I see that.
But it's also a little bit scary because it's uncharted territory.
Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen.
We're still figuring out how to navigate this new landscape,
Right.
how to balance the benefits of decentralization
Uh-huh.
with the need for stability and security.
Right. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
We don't have all the answers.
Nope.
We're all on this journey of discovery together,
We are.
trying to understand what this technology means for our lives and for the world around us.
And that's what we've tried to do in this deep dive.
I think we did a good effort.
Provide you with some information, insights, and different perspectives.
Yep.
So you can form your own opinions and make your own choices.
We're not here to tell you what to think
Definitely not.
or what to invest in.
That's your decision.
We're here to empower you to think critically,
Absolutely.
ask tough questions, and engage in these conversations in a meaningful way.
Exactly.
Remember, the future isn't something that just happens to us.
It's not.
It's something we create
We do.
through our actions, our choices, and our beliefs.
And on that note,
Yeah.
I think it's time to wrap up
Okay.
this deep dive into Bitcoin's future.
Thanks for joining us on this journey of exploration. We hope you've learned something new, challenged your assumptions, and maybe even sparked a few ideas of your own.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and until next time, happy diving.